Hello, everybody, and welcome to another series of Offstage here on Check the Gate. Today, it's my great pleasure to have as a guest Matthias Bartolomey, who is a wonderful cellist, composer, and arranger here from Vienna. And I see Matthias is already here, so I will side of this interview.
Hey guys.
Hey Matthias. Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Oh no, it's my pleasure that you are here with us. How are you doing?
Very good. How are you?
I'm okay. You're in Vienna too right now?
I'm in Vienna, and I have to say I'm very well, and I really right now is starting to get really relaxed, and I'm taking my time to take care of certain creative aspects that I had to push away back then. So I really have the time now to do the things that I wanted to do for a long time.
Oh, that's beautiful. I think we're all a little bit in the same window, so to say.
Right.
And somebody just writes, Chen is here. You know, we have another great interviewer, Chen Reis. She's doing many interviews. Hi, Chen. Welcome to watch us. Matthias is for sure happy to see you too. Matthias, I am very much interested in my first question on one thing. So I got to know you, that you really started with your roots as a classical musician. Then you made a career winning a couple of prizes as a soloist. You went on to experiencing orchestra playing from the inside with top ensembles. And then you went on to become more chamber musician and formed together with Clemens Bittmann this really super diverse, modern, as you call it yourself, progressive ensemble, which I think is one of the most interesting careers in terms of diversity. So my question is, how did you end up starting as a really classical trained musician? Probably you've had this question many times, but really making this whole horizon of all the music world and now really crossing the borders even to inspirational and free jazz and rock and roll and heavy metal, so to say, with the cello.
Okay. Well, the thing is, you're completely right. I grew up in a completely classical field and classical surrounding. My father, he's retired now, but he was solo cellist of the Vienna Philharmonic for many decades, and so I had this really like philharmonic classical, and but also with the chamber music. I mean, I started with Valentin Erben in Vienna and with Clemens Hagen in Salzburg at the Mozarteum. So I had also this very intense chamber music influences. And together with this, really from very early on, I always had big, I was always a big fan of rock music. I was always a big fan of, especially what happened in the 90s and in the early 2000s. There was a lot of stuff going on in the progressive rock world, and this was the music that I really enjoyed listening to, and I always tried to find a way to incorporate this into my active music life. And I had a trio back in the early 2000s with good friends of mine, Leonhard Rocek, who's playing with the Minetti Quartet, and we had a trio together also with Wolfram Grün. And we called this trio Metaphysis, and we were playing Apocalyptica pieces, like the Finnish cello band who played all the Metallica songs. So this was very early on, something that I was always interested in, and something that I kind of used as some playful approach to different kinds of music making on a very classical instrument, And so I had always had this passion, but until I would say 8 years ago, I didn't really have a good reason to pursue it more, to really like with the duo Bartolomey Bittmann with Clemens Bittmann, which has now become a very main focus of my musical career. we met 8 years ago, and back then we decided to really go for it, to really think of the duo as a band, and that we develop over the years, where we write our own music, where we discover the instrument in a very intuitive way, and also kind of cross the border, the big fear of a classical musician to play without music, to play without sheet music. I wouldn't say that I'm a jazz improviser, no.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what I'm going for, but I would rather say I'm discovering the rock elements and the groove elements of the cello, and there's lots to do, and there's lots to discover, and this is a really fun experience, and the fact that I can dedicate my time to this kind of approach is something that I'm really grateful for also.
Well, it's wonderful, and my next question would be, actually, because you started to compose on your CDs, you develop it together with Clemens. You say in a kind of a flow process. You see it also a little bit in one interview I read, that it's in the Baroque era when people really started to come to the Renaissance and improvising in the moment on a let's say, we call it organ point at the first beginning, but we know how it developed. But not getting too technical, just tell us, please, where is your music vision? Because I know you're saying, okay, the genre of music is something which starts to be a little bit blurred, so we'll be crossing the borders, but you definitely don't want to be considered as a crossover musician. So you really want to be progressive in the way of, if I understand it right, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like an evolution of a music genre. So when you do that, where do you see yourself as a composer, in which direction you would like to go? Is it the mix between all what you said before, or is it really something completely new, maybe, which comes out of that?
Okay, completely new, I would say not, because to have the goal to make something completely new is almost impossible nowadays, because almost everything kind of has been done. If you can't write a piece where nothing is happening anymore, because John Cage did it. So thinking about this in this way, but I think that maybe you could say my approach would be to trying not to sound too cheesy now, but it's about finding your own sound, finding something that feels authentic to you, and that you can relate to on your instrument. And I would consider myself a composer, but not in the classical way that I was studying composition, and I know all the techniques, but it's more like a songwriter approach. I have my instrument, and I'm doodling around, I'm just playing around, and I try different things and see how they go, and if they feel right, I pursue it. I'm developing little pieces out of it, and I do this for cello on my own, but I also do it in the duo with Clemens, and this has been a very enjoyable process right from the beginning, because we always write the music together, and each one of us brings his ideas, and we talk about it, we argue about it, we fight about it.
Good.
It's
really exciting.
Yeah. It's
beautiful.
Intense.
Yeah.
It's an intense process, and
So when you fight, you also scream, or is it just a really fight? No, how is the fighting going on?
No, we're really we're quite decent people. So we don't need that eccentric outbursts of emotion, but it can be quite intense in terms of the direction that this composition or this piece is going. We always try to find a way, and somehow we have been doing this for 8 years now, and it somehow it works. It's this kind of approach works. It's not for everybody, I guess, but it works with us.
So let's spin this just a little bit more deep, if you allow me. So sure. When I'm coming from I'm also classical trained, as everybody knows, but I'm also really fanatic of the all other music. So I always say good music touches my heart, for me good music, and the music which doesn't touch my heart is, for me personally, not the music I'm appealing to, but has nothing to do from the quality of the other music. It's a different story, for me personally. But let's take it on the meta platform, meaning that, okay, so we have, for example, Gustav Mahler, he involved sounds, and he also involved some very coloristic folk tunes. And then we go back to other composers where we know they made a little bit of a statement inside of a composition, of another composition. So you talked about John Cage. Of course, we know Gershwin, who unfortunately died so early, right? Who made these incredible compositions where he actually combines really jazz together with the classical music. Yeah. And I remember just recently I did this Marsalis symphony, swing symphony, where you have a whole big band with a whole orchestra. So I, as a conductor, it's the biggest nightmare you can ever imagine, because there is one group who grooves with itself, and the symphonic orchestra stays to the tracks. So, sorry, long speech making short. For you, Matthias, would it be something appealing that you say, okay, let's take it one step further, and I compose for a big symphonic orchestra?
Wow, okay, that's, I wouldn't, right now, I think I wouldn't dare to do it. I think because I'm
Why not? Why not?
I think because really writing for a big orchestra, you kind of need certain technical aspects that I'm right now not too much comfortable. I mean, I could try. The idea that I'm pursuing right now is, you know, take little steps. I'm writing for solo cello. I'm writing for cello ensemble. I'm arranging for violin. So I'm staying in this safe string area for now. But who knows where it...
Okay, let's say like this. If you're ready, let me know. Because I think it's amazing what you do. And I would be very happy, actually, to really help you and to bring this to another platform. Because I agree totally with you. Music is a process, and it's a process of development. So what you do is beautiful because it's an evolution of the music genre in whatever way. And we don't say right or wrong, because you just do what is authentic. That's beautiful. Please continue. When you have something with orchestra, let me know. Okay, now next question. Now,
you know, the thing is, just one thing concerning this, because I think the exciting thing is that we live now in times where lots of things are happening in this regard. Because you were talking about this crossover term, you know, which has been kind of it has a bad feeling to it for many people, because most of the people think, okay, crossover, it's neither here nor there, it's nothing really with any substance. And I think the development that we're taking now with so many musicians, there are lots of cellists as well. The cello has become a really the cello kind of lives a renaissance now. There are many other people who are going new ways, and also in the orchestra field, maybe you could say in the tradition of George Gershwin, lots of are happening, and I think this is a very exciting and creative time, and I appreciate everybody who also takes the time to develop things, because this is a new field, and it's not about playing the Beethoven sonatas, it's about really creating something new, and this takes time, and everybody who takes the time to let it grow is on the right path, I think.
Beautiful. It's very beautiful said. Okay, let's go to something else. As somebody who is a symbiotic creature in the music world, having experienced the full high-quality classical music, playing with Nikolaus Harnoncourt, many great Alban Berg and quartet, and also you I think performed as a soloist many times. And on the other side, you are now really on stage like a rock musician, let's say. So you have experienced both atmospheres on the stage. What's the difference?
What's the difference?
Because we have the cliche, right? When we say in the classical music, we look out and the audience, they're all quiet. Sometimes we hear ringtones we want to imitate or not. We prefer some of them. And sometimes we have little people saying something or you know. So it's a quiet, spiritual experience, let's say.
Yeah.
While you work with rhythm rhythm, you work with groove, you want a almost physical involvement of the people in a circle. So how is this feeling on stage? That's what I'm really interested in.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, that's a very good question, because I would say the big advantage in playing your own music and playing this kind of groovy rock elements in a classical field, because most of the stages I'm playing are classical stages, classical concert promoters who are looking for new. And the advantage, I would say, in the beginning that you have is that people don't know what they are expecting. So they come and they sit down, and suddenly they hear something they have never heard before, or this is kind of a new and provocative approach. Maybe some people like it, maybe some people don't, but that's not the point. That's an advantage that I think this kind of approach has in comparison to a classical concert, where it's getting, every day it's getting harder and harder to find an audience and to really get this immediate response from the audience, because the audience knows the pieces. You play the Beethoven Fifth Symphony, everybody knows it. And to find an interpretation and the liveliness of the piece, and still get the people, is something that I guess it's a little harder in comparison to, you make your own music, you make it. We're playing this music now, we're creating it now. It's kind of influenced by us. Of course, the big masterpieces and the great composers are timeless, but still they have those elements that are rooted in their time. It's a language that's old. Still, it's old. It's timeless, but it gets more difficult to reach the people. I have just a short anecdote concerning this, because you were mentioning Nicolas Harnoncourt. This is something that he was always very aware of, and he really tried to get this fresh emotional experience back into the concert. And I remember that we did the Symphonie mit dem Paukenschlag, with the big bang of the Haydn Symphony. Everybody knows it, dun, 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 and then that big bang comes in. So this surprise element is completely gone, because everybody knows that it's happening. Yeah? And we did it in the Golden Hall in the Vienna Musikverein, and he was really creative and thinking about ways to make this surprise really happen. And in the end, the solution was, and I'm sure you know, this big confetti bomb at the Neujahrskonzert from the organ. In the end, we really did it that at the moment of the bang, he pressed the button, and there was a big bang in the whole hall, and everything was covered with confetti. And you know, purists would say this is extreme and this is not Haydn and this is crazy. Yes. But in the end, the emotional impact on the people was there. There was something was happening.
And this is perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I think so too.
No, I think it's beautiful. Also, what he always said, I was a big admirer always of him, and also what you described. And we classical musicians, you're right, we have this disadvantage of not presenting something really new unless it's a world premiere. But then we never know how it will really end up. So I think it's as long as it's really going with the score, it's amazing, and you can really try new things, and it's also in a way our creativity. So what are we talking about? If we don't have a creativity on stage as a conductor, we have no right to sit there. Just to be the policeman, you can go also to McDonald's and serve a burger. It's the same. It's no problem. Okay, so we understand this. So let's go to the musicians. We were talking about the audience. We were a little bit, going away from there, but we understand the difference. Of course, it's easier for you because it's your composition. So the audience, in a way, is much more connected. But how about the musicians? How different are the musicians when you play with classical musicians? Then now you play with claimants, and I'm sure you have some ensembles you join in sometimes. How is the work?
Okay. I think actually the feeling that I get is even though it's a different kind of music. Of course, I'm playing groove-related, jazz-related music with Clemens, and I'm playing classical repertoire with other players. What happens between the musicians, or what I'm looking for, is the same thing. You know, it's a connection that happens instantly. It's a feeling of timing that either you have it together or you don't. It's really hard to talk about certain things in music. I guess I'm sure you too, and I'm sure many people had these experiences where you're playing a classical piece and you just can't get anything together because everybody's feeling it different. Yeah.
Yes.
So this is something that happens non-verbally. This happens between the personalities, and this is something that's completely the same in any kind of music.
Which is intuitive language, so you absolutely go to another platform of feeling and understanding each other. It's really language, yeah. So some personal questions before we come to the end. You have any other passions, Matthias? Everybody knows that you're an amazing musician on both sides, so to say. So, is there any other passion Matthias Bartolomey has?
Any other passion? I would say up until the lockdown 6 weeks ago, those other passions were very much like put into the closet. Now that there's more time, I would say I'm getting back to photography, both digital and film, which is kind of something that I really enjoy doing because it slows you down so much. You know, you go through the streets and you look at everything differently and you take your time. This is it's almost a kind of meditation.
Beautiful. And then now you also have a lot of time to cook and to sing at home. Are you doing that?
But it's not worth mentioning, you know.
But do you have a favorite dish of Vienna or Salzburg?
Favorite dish of Vienna? I have to say that I'm really stuck in the Italian cuisine. So,
like me.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I enjoy the occasional schnitzel, but it's not something that I eat on a daily basis, which is probably a good idea.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, let's have one more serious subject, because we're living in this time. We are all influenced by the first, basically, complete music lockdown in the world, of all kind of music. I just would like to hear your thoughts about that. Do you think it will, after it's done, it will continue the way it was before? Do you think that now we will have a longer transition time, that we really cannot say how it will also end and when it will end? And what will be the impact on the music?
Cool. I guess many things are hard to say, also depending on how the different countries deal with the situation. I guess what in generally is kind of we're facing now is that the culture and the music was the first things that got locked down, and as it seems, it will be the last things that get opened up again, just because of the fact that you need the audience, and those security measurements are really hard to.
On the other side, they allow sports events, so we will see how this will go. Well, when you play soccer, 22 people, I don't know if they will have new soccer rules that they are not allowed to touch each other. But
maybe I think would be a good idea. Actually, finally, there's no drama, no big.
Exactly, would be beautiful. Yeah, so we will all see. It will develop. We will go day by day. Okay, Matthias, I understand. You told me before you will be also very soon giving your experience as musician to young people. What is the news about Matthias Bartolomey? Nobody knows yet.
Yeah, nobody knows yet. Yeah, it's really big news, and I'm really honored and happy that I'm gonna be a professor at the Mozarteum in Salzburg starting October.
Congratulations!
Thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to this opportunity and to be able to work with younger people and students, and this is something that I really didn't think that would happen so fast, and yeah, forward to this, and what can I say? Yeah, starting in October.
Well, that's beautiful.
And to go back to the Mozarteum, which I left 10 years ago. I left it and did my master's degree there with Clemens Hagen. So I finished studying there, and to come back there 10 years later in this position, it's just a huge honor.
Well, big congratulations, but it's not only an honor for you, also for them, because I think you're the absolute, really the A-type modern musician, and they can be very happy and proud to have you, really. I think it's fantastic. Yeah, it's great. Okay, you have a little treat for our audience too, you said, maybe?
Yeah, I have just this very recent new composition. It's a piece for solo cello, and it's called Fernand Bouc, which is a dedication to the wood that the violin and cello bows are made of.
Yeah.
And it's a really special wood that grows in Brazil. And the last time I went to my favorite bow luthier in Vienna, Thomas Gerbert, he was showing me the photos. He had a trip there and kind of was looking at the trees that are growing and will be bows at some day, and this is something that's really beautiful, and the people they are working with there. This is not something that like exploitation of some expensive woods, but they really take care of nature, and this is
environment and harmony. Yeah.
A very symbolic process. And I just had the feeling that the piece somewhere has this association with this really special wood that without it nothing would sound. Yeah.
Beautiful. We can't wait. Thank you so much.
Okay. And I'm just gonna play a few minutes of it, and you can check there's a video I have put on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, and so this is just a short teaser.
We will make sure when we put the video on YouTube that we put the link there so everybody can immediately click.
Awesome. And I just have to put the camera just one floor down.
Yes.
So I have been practicing all day, so don't expect too much. Huh?
My ears also have not been practicing. So.
Oh, by the way, maybe you guys want to check out this really nice head.
Yeah.
Which is a lion head. Yeah.
It's amazing.
David Heckler cello from Rome in 1727. Yeah.
Rome 1727. 1727 in Rome. This cello. Great. All right, ready.
Fernand Bouc.
Oh, bravissimo. It was great. Thank you so much, Matthias. Thank you also for being with us this afternoon. It was a great joy. I hope we see each other also in person very soon. don't forget, if you have an idea for orchestra things, let me know immediately. And for the rest, please stay safe. Also to your family. Give also to your family my big love. I have not seen them in a long time.
Yeah. You know, Sascha, I have to say also thank you very much for having me. It was a big honor. It was my first Instagram live interview, so I'm very happy about this as well. And thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure, our pleasure here on Check the Gate. We really appreciate that you artists take time to share this for everybody, and hope to see you very soon again. Thank you everybody for watching today afternoon with Matthias Bartolomey. Look out for him on YouTube. We send you the links. Amazing guy. Okay, thank you everybody. Bye-bye. See you soon.
Bye.
Ciao, Matthias. Bye.
Ciao.